New this morning, federal agents can once again use tear gas and pepper balls near Portland's ICE facility without restriction.
This comes after a ruling from the Ninth Court of Appeals. Fox 12's Leah Kamenaw joins us now in studio to explain. Leah.
This ruling ultimately puts a pause on the federal orders issued last month for two separate lawsuits barring the use of chemical munitions unless an agent's life was in danger. Federal judges issued preliminary injunctions in the cases, one which was brought by protesters and another by the owners of a nearby apartment complex. The Trump administration appealed those two rulings, and the Ninth Court of Appeals, in a decision combining the two cases, ruled 2-1 in the Trump administration's favor. The ruling temporarily lifts restrictions on the use of chemical munitions until the combined protester and apartment building case comes before the court. Recapping those two separate cases for you, the lawsuit filed by Reach, the nonprofit that owns and operates the apartment building across the street from the ICE facility, claims the excessive use of chemical munitions violates tenants' Fourth and Fifth Amendment rights. In court, the plaintiffs showed videos taken from inside the apartment complex of giant clouds of tear gas coming into the apartments, as well as you can see here, windows broken by tear gas canisters, and pepper balls were also found on balconies multiple floors up from the street. The other lawsuit was filed by protesters, claimed federal agents used excessive force and violated free speech rights during protests on January 31st, when chemical munitions were released into the crowd, which included children and the elderly. Through both hearings for those cases, the federal government argued that limiting the use of chemical munitions at the Portland ICE facility would prevent the government from doing its job and would remove their ability to de-escalate situations. So what happens next? Well, the two cases, as mentioned, must now be consolidated into one, with oral arguments in this updated case set for Tuesday, April 7th. Reporting in studio, Leah Kamenaw. Good day, Oregon.